Happy Halloween. Yes. Welcome. We have a show for you that is love and loving. And as you were saying, Gemma,
Yes, autumn.
does it last?
And does it last?
Through the seasons.
Exactly.
What happens when autumn arrives?
Many things.
Many things, yes.
Golden, it's a golden season.
It is a golden season.
But then we question what is gold,
We question exactly.
the permanence or impermanence of what gold brings, and so on.
And so on. So, dear Robert Frost, you knew. We have an opening poem I'd like to share with you called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Oh, this one gets to my soul, especially this time of year. Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Oh, Gemma, what's packed into this 8-line gem? My goodness. I'm surprised he calls nature's first green gold. Mm-hmm. I'm not that observant that in the very nascent green of early spring.
Some buds are, and some are even red.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
so.
But that first sprinkle is gold, as Frost says. And then, of course,
The willow trees. The
willows, yes. Out by the river in South Dakota. Oh my goodness, coming back to me. And then, her hardest hue to hold, nature's already changed the colors on the brush, right? Into nascent green and then full green leaves. Her early leaf's a flower. Gold is there, but only so for an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. Oh, I guess the changing within the summer.
Yeah.
So Eden sank to grief. What? What a metaphor. And what a jump.
Right.
And yet, right?
Right. Well, the fall and the fall.
The fall
Yeah.
and the fall. Isn't
Exactly.
that natural, as
Yeah.
Frost would be, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's beautiful. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. The theme, as we were speaking, is love and autumn. Yes. And the metaphors seasonally. I'd love to hear one of your choices today because
Okay.
I fell in love with them as you shared them.
Well,
Wow.
prompted by your suggestions of autumn and love, I chose From Sunset to Starrise by Christina Rossetti. Go from me, summer friends, and tarry not. I am no summer friend, but wintry cold. A silly sheep benighted from the fold, a sluggard with a thorn-choked garden plot. Take counsel, sever from my lot your lot. Dwell in your pleasant places, hoard your gold, lest you with me should shiver in the wold, athirst and hungering on a barren spot. For I have hedged me with the thorny hedge. I live alone, I look to die alone. Yet sometimes, when a wind sighs through the sedge, ghosts of my buried years and friends come back. My heart goes sighing after swallows flown on sometime summer's unreturning track. So this is autumn and lost love for Christina Rossetti.
Yes, lost love is a big part of life.
And she had 3 loves in her life and did not end her life with any particular companion.
So what happens as the years roll on? We're faced with loneliness after lost love.
Right. And memories.
And the gold of
And the gold,
memories.
right,
That's so wonderful. I love that it mentions gold in that poem. I don't know much about Dante Gabriel Rossetti, I guess one of her partners or husband. But these prompt me to go
And look, yeah.
and search. And I'm so happy about that. I wouldn't have come across her unless you chose her. Delightful. Gather around, you kids. We've got a few welcoming poems
kid
for
arms,
you.
yeah.
Yes, The Springs of Joy. And you knew Tasha Tudor. I had never heard of her.
Oh, yeah, her illustrations. She illustrated many children's books
Oh,
in earlier times.
And traditional, kind of old-fashioned in a way.
Yeah, rhyming books and
Rhyming books. This one seems to be special because she's taken excerpts from all the very well-known writers and given a line or two.
She did A Child's Garden of Verse, I think, as well as others, but I think that's the first time I was introduced to her.
Oh,
She illustrated it, in other words.
so it's the illustrations that really sing. Here is a young boy under an umbrella in a very rainy day with water dripping, so they're huddled, and he's stealing a kiss. And the quote with it, "Love comforteth like sunshine after the rain." William Shakespeare, of all people. Oh, they're beautiful illustrations.
A memory just popped up in her book about her early memories of holidays. In November, the quote she has is, "No leaves, no fruit, no seeds, no flowers, November."
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and I don't remember who it's from, but it's just what I think of when November comes.
Oh, exactly.
You'll have to look that up.
I can, and all I remember is Nis Nil Ebo, somebody playing with the word November and kind of dissolving the vowels into a silence. Fascinating. And then there's the cat. At home without a cat and a well-fed, well-petted, and properly revered cat may be a perfect home, perhaps, but how can it prove title? What's he talking about? Mark Twain. I'll read that again. A home without a cat and a well-fed, well-petted, and properly revered cat may be a perfect home, perhaps, but how can it prove title? I love being puzzled, especially by Mark Twain, who usually got a nice, succinct punch. Mark Twain, again, don't part with your illusions.
That's a good one.
When they are gone, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. The lost illusions of childhood. Someone once described first love as an illusion. Good question.
I have a poem about, it's actually a poem about marriage, but it is a poem about love, and a love that has lasted through time.
Really?
This is a poem by the author Neil Gaiman, who's known for his graphic novels and kind of otherworldly fantasy, but he writes beautiful poetry. And he wrote this for a friend's wedding.
What's his name again?
Neil Gaiman.
G-A-M-O-N.
G-A-I-M-A-N.
Thank you.
He wrote this for a friend's wedding, and his poetry is beautiful. This is everything I have to tell you about love. Nothing. This is everything I have learned about marriage. Nothing. Only that the world out there is complicated and there are beasts in the night and delight and pain. And the only thing that makes it okay, sometimes, is to reach out a hand in the darkness and find another hand to squeeze and not to be alone. It is not the kisses are never just the kisses. It's what they mean. Somebody's got your back. Somebody knows your worst self and somehow doesn't want to rescue you or send for the army to rescue them.
Oh, that's love.
It's not two broken halves becoming one. It's the light from a distant lighthouse bringing you both safely home, because home is wherever you are both together. So this is everything I have to tell you about love and marriage. Nothing. Like a book without pages or a forest without trees. Because there are things you cannot know before you experience them, because no study can prepare you for the joys and the trials, because nobody else's love, nobody else's marriage is like yours. And it's a road you can only learn by walking it. A dance you cannot be taught, a song that did not exist before you began together to sing. And because in the darkness you will reach out a hand, not knowing for certain if someone else is even there. And your hands will meet, and then neither of you will never need to be alone again. And that is all I know about love.
I love the way you read that, kind of offhand, and yet so many deep bells go off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a beauty.
And it's not just that way about marriage love, it's that way, you know, with different flavors, and, you know, parent-child love and friendship love, and,
yes,
you know.
Yes, all of them.
Yeah.
And the cat.
Right.
Even the cat.
Oh, definitely the
Oh,
cat.
definitely the cat. Oh, thanks. That's so inspiring. I really love that. I'm going to read
Take this
a
off.
couple of the poems that I brought, but first I want to play that theme again from Frost. You know, 2 or 3 times during the show, I'll read it to sort of sound the bell, but also to keep us probing. That's what Frost wants us to do, I think. Really like that approach. And that calls for a more relaxed, debonair hat. Nothing gold can stay. Nature's first green is gold, but her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Unconsciously, I didn't know how deeply that poem affected me. But after that, and after sitting with that poem, in 2015, I think I was sitting at the Turtle Cafe. Yes, I was sitting at the Turtle Cafe, formerly Jane's Muffin Corner, where I sat 36 years ago when we first moved to.
My goodness.
Yes. And I loved writing in the morning at Jane's Muffin Corner. Then I'd go teach at Gateway in the afternoon. But this is more recent than that. This is, I'd say 2014, and then my friend from Gateway printed it up. And it's definitely a riff on this poem. But I didn't realize that until today, when I dug this out and reread Nothing Gold Can Stay. I'm trying to say the same thing, but not as successfully because it's a little longer. The gift of paradise lost. That's the Eden part. That's what I was trying to probe, inspired by Frost. When good friends and family fall away like leaves, bleeding red, orange, leaking in yellow photo frames. A younger, slim, supplicating self, sure-limbed, holding a green thought in a green shade, a sapling in a dream, but for that idiot-faced moon always smiling as a curse. Wonder if that foolish youth might have kept his leaves longer without so many seasons of grief, loss, tragedy. Perhaps hurled headstrong to the edge of mad verse by the daemon, a blissful, mindless run of creativity, a dance between father and son before perishing into spring. Oops. I think it's Frost's sound that first appealed to me. You know how you've picked up sound is so important in that poem you brought about the paperback.
Mm-hmm.
I love the music in your poem.
Thank you.
And this is what appeals to me first, the musicality of a poem. And I think his verse is as musical as Edna St. Vincent Millay in perfection.
But your poem adds something, and it's a little bit, the length is a little longer, but you get in all those nice S's, those sibilant, rustling leaf sounds as the leaves are falling. Your words are all those S's, alliteration, hissing.
And that's his genius.
Yeah.
That's what I love about him.
Yeah, and you could hear it in your poem.
Yeah. And I'm emulating him because he's the master, and that's how I'm learning my craft. But I really heard a deeper bell in the Paradise Lost, in Eden Lost. Mm-hmm. And what was that about? And what am I trying to say about that foolish youth who was not only hurled headlong, Milton's Paradise Lost, but headstrong, because we are at that point. We're pushing the envelope. We know things, or think we do, but we're learning about grief, loss, and tragedy as we go. You have the poem you read. What is love? Nothing. I can't tell you anything. You have to live it in the most sentient and exciting way, and you're the only one.
It's experience shared. That's what love is, when you're willing to experience whatever that unknown experience is, And
it takes that reaching out of the hand.
Mm-hmm. So, it does.
And so the daemon, that is spelling A-E, that's a note that there's the creative side, the Dionysian impulse. And it's a mindless run of creativity. But I don't know where the father and son dance comes from. But I love what my friend, the student from Gateway, did from a sort of bleeding into green, because spring is down here, but...
A reversal, that's great. Or a cycle, I should say.
As he says, nothing gold can stay, but, oh my gosh, can spring be around the corner? That kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you, Robert Frost.
That's beautiful, Frank. I'm glad.
Oh, thanks. That was so much fun to realize the connection at the deep level. Of course, I'm emulating his style, but it's the deeper emotions.
Along that vein, I'd like to introduce a poem by P.K. Page, because in her poem she is inspired by another poet, just as you were. And she uses a form to show that inspiration. The form is called a glossa, and I've talked about it on the show once before. It's a Renaissance Spanish form where the poet takes a famous poem that everybody would know and incorporated it into some of the lines into a new poem.
That takes so much cleverness.
And she does such a wonderful job of it. She's written a whole book of them. And the book is called Holograms.
Glossas.
Yeah, and they're glosses. So this poem is by P.K. Page, called Autumn, and the first 4 lines are by Rainier Maria Rilke.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's who she's inspired by.
I was stunned by that.
So these are, first four are his lines. Autumn. Whoever has no house now will never have one. Whoever is alone will stay alone. Will sit, read, write long letters through the evening, and wander on the boulevards up and down. This is hers. It is a stain everywhere. The sharpening air of the late afternoon is now the color of tea. Once glycerined green leaves, burned by a summer sun, are brittle and ochre. Night enters day like a thief, and children fear that the beautiful daylight has gone. Whoever has no house now will never have one. It is the best and the worst time. Around the fire, everyone laughing, brocaded curtains drawn. Nowhere, anywhere is more safe than here. The whole world is a cup one could hold in one's hand like a stone, warmed by that same summer sun. But the dead or the near dead are now all knucklebone. Whatever is alone will stay alone. Nothing to do, nothing to really do. Toast and tea are nothing, kettle boils dry. Shut the night out or let it in. It is a cat on the wrong side of the door, whichever side it is on. A black thing with its implacable face. To avoid it, you will tell yourself you are something, will sit and read and write long letters through the evening. Even though there is bounty, a full harvest, that sharp sweetness in the tea-stained air is reserved for those who have made a straw, fine as a hair to suck through, fine as a golden hair. Wearing a smile or a frown, God's face is always there. It is up to you to take your wintry restlessness into town and wander the boulevards up and down.
It is up to you.
Yeah.
How do you keep that loneliness at bay at a certain age when friends and family fall away like leaves and it's, oh my, or Christina Rossetti's notes of loneliness between the lines.
I mean, by February, I do feel like the cat that's on the wrong side of the door, and I don't want to get out of bed, and yet I can't wait to get out of the house. You know, that kind of. And so, I think the last lines, it's up to you to get out. You know.
Yes, it is up to you.
Put yourself.
That's how you keep the loneliness at bay.
And put yourself out in the middle of the boulevard. You know, get going.
Get walking up and down. Talk. Break through. Just exactly what I was talking with John Cavalieri, who owns the Lyric Theater in New Haven, about this morning.
That's great.
It is, because all our old friends are, slowly disappearing. We were at a Memorial Sunday, and that's where and I said, yes, oh, they're all going. Oh, that's a beautiful poem because of the images, and I didn't realize she was that good a poet.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
I mean, she can take something so well known and not diminish it or be diminished by it.
And I was drawn to her collection and her book. I now have a suggestion up here. Go pick her up again.
Okay. PK Page. Okay.
Yeah, PK Page. She really, Canadian, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she really rang a bell for me. So, nothing gold can stay but the memory of a kiss. That can last. Federico Garcia Lorca. We spent a a good bit of time on him.
We did.
And that was fun. Federico Garcia Lorca, translated by Sarah Arvio. To find a kiss of yours, what would I give? A kiss that stayed from your lips, dead to love. My lips taste the dirt of shadows. To gaze at your dark eyes, what would I give? Dawns of rainbow garnet, fanning open before God. The stars blinded them one morning in May. And to kiss your pure thighs, what would I give? Raw rose crystal, sediment of the sun. What a guy! What a sentiment!
Quite a poem, yeah.
And what images! Rainbow garnet. Oh, fanning open before God. Somehow the problem of translation doesn't seem to get in the way when I read his poetry. And how about Kazakhstan?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear you read that. You sent it to me, and
wow.
I think it's coming from your knowledgeable pronunciation of the.
I love Cyrillic.
Yeah.
A lot of haks, Kazakhstan.
Well, go for it.
So when we spell it in English, in the Latin alphabet, Kazakh STAN. Got to have that. But in Russian, it's just one letter. Kai from the Greek. Ha in Russian. This is serendipitous. I hang out sometimes at the library in Clinton, not only to buy 50-cent books and give them out to all the kids at McDonald's who are restless, who could be reading.
What a good idea.
Oh, it's fun. On the bus in Tucson. We'll take a break, and I'll come right back with some ha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Valley Shore Community Television is constantly adapting to the demands of our viewers. Busy schedules are making it hard for viewers to watch shows when they air.
Television has changed dramatically. We don't have to be appointment viewers or listeners anymore.
No.
We can do this in real time.
VSC TV has made it easy to watch all our locally produced content online and when you want it. Visit vsctv.com and click on the Watch Online tab to watch live, or visit our local show playlist to easily navigate your favorite shows anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
This world is for free. Freedom from the waves of this world.
VSC TV is your local Connecticut Mid-Shore Valley digital connection.
Hi, I'm Kelly. It is my job to teach employees the responsible way to sell both tobacco and electronic cigarettes. As of October 1st, 2019, a customer must be at least 21 years old to purchase a tobacco product or an electronic cigarette. The law also says all employees must card anyone who appears to be under the age of 30 years old. The free updated prevention education program will be available on October 1st, 2019 at cttobaccotraining.com.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide, it provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
Unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Welcome back. Oh, we're having a relaxed, golden, seasonal, nostalgic, wonderful trip through the poets. Here's Emily. Emily Dickinson, chosen by Gemma. Besides the autumn poets, sing a few prosaic days, a little this side of the snow and that side of the haze. A few incisive mornings, a few ascetic eves. Gone Mr. Bryant's goldenrod and Mr. Thompson's sheaves. Still is the bustle in the brook, sealed are the spicy valves. Mesmeric fingers softly touch the eyes of many elves. Perhaps a squirrel may remain my sentiments to share. Grant me, O Lord, a sunny mind, thy windy will to bear. Emily, what are you up to here? I, for the life of me, racked my brain for spicy valves as an image, as a simile, as a metaphor. I'm totally at loss. Mesmeric fingers I can deal with, and the bustle is still in the brook. This little side of the snow and that side of the haze. Isn't that lovely? That's so Emily, you know, the in-between.
And that's exactly what she's talking about, the in-between. The summer's gone, the winter's coming, and there's this little chink of something we call autumn. You know?
Perhaps a squirrel may remain, you know. He's already picked up most of the acorns in the yard, but my sentiments to share. In other words, she's plugged in the way Frost is, you know. Mm-hmm. Sentiments with the animal life and the natural world. But still, God's there. Oh, Lord.
The eyes of many elves, the nature.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That surprised me. Yeah.
So I didn't really understand either of her references. Mr. Bryant, which is William Cullen Bryant's.
Yeah.
That's from a poem called The Death of Flowers, which is about autumn, and it's beautiful and shorter. Uh-huh. But Mr. Thompson Sheaves, I was not at all familiar with. And it's from a poem called The Four Seasons, and one of the poems inside of the quadrophenia or whatever it is, a poem called Autumn. And in the poem called Autumn, it's a long poem and it's complicated, and it dwells on autumn, but the harvest. It's a theme of harvest, the sheaves, harvesting the wheat.
Oh, yeah.
But it talks about also the natural order of people that own the land, people who work on the land, but sometimes that's disrupted when the exchange isn't equitably shared.
Oh.
So there's a very interesting theme in that poem that's, I was surprised to have for the time, to see for the time. So I would recommend that. James Thompson's The Four Seasons.
I can go look.
Yeah.
That's a new, I'd heard of it, but not intimately.
Right.
The way William Cullen Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's right. You're more familiar with his. Yeah.
So she read contemporaries and, probably everybody. in the canon. But this is a direct reference to two other poets. That's a surprise too.
And she's saying, look, here's my little, my humble little version, which in for 16 lines just sort of, knocks them out of the ballpark in a way.
Oh, that's great.
Although, they all had their, everybody has their
and it's all good, as
thing
you
to say. Yeah.
Her versification and form and just the music is supposed to come from the hymnal. Is that true? The 4/3, 4/3.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear the 4/3. Besides the autumn, poets sing a few prosaic days. Da-dum, 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 dum. Yeah. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. The 4/3, 4/3 got under my skin in terms of the music. And that's why I love her so much in that predictability. There's no variation to that. It's the old Protestant hymnal with the 4/3, 4/3 I heard.
The unpredictability is in the content.
Yeah.
There's an Emily slant that's like no other.
There's an Emily slant.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a brilliance. I never tire of her. I have a collection at home. Do you have another one by Emily?
No, I read the two that
okay.
You read one and I read the other.
Okay. Well, I think, yes.
I have a poem by a contemporary singer-songwriter.
Okay, hold that, and I'll do the Kazakh.
Okay, yeah, do that. Oh, that's right, we forgot that we didn't forget it because you remembered.
Kazakhstan, you ready for this?
Yeah,
It is the world's largest landlocked country. What? And the 9th largest country in the world with an area of 2,724,000 square kilometers. It is a transcontinental country largely located in Asia. The most western parts are in Europe. I mean, it just takes up so much of the former Soviet Union. So when it broke apart in 91 and all these stands went independent, it borders Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and joins a large part of the Caspian Sea. I kind of want to go there. So the story is, in the Clinton Library, the reference librarian upstairs who works with the teenagers came over to me with these 2 heavy, brand new text-looking books. One was the entire prose canon of Kazakhstan and the entire poetry collection. She says, we can't stock this. Here you go.
Wow. Wonderful.
It's wonderful. So that's how we're talking about Kazakhstan today. But it's close to my heart geographically because, of course, we've done 3 to 4 shows on Russia.
Sure.
I'll mention a few notes. By the way, that word in one of the first poems you read, wold, W-O-L-D, rang a bell from Dickens. Chesney Wold was where that family in Bleak House lived, and I thought, oh, Wold. What rhymes with Wold? Well,
gold.
Oops.
Did I give it away?
You gave it good. Whoops. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
How these, not archaic words, but words from a different culture or language or even the UK. What's Chesney Wold? Poem of the nomadic Scythians. So the Scythians were the first inhabitants of that landmass. The territory of Kazakhstan has historically been inhabited by nomadic groups and empires. In antiquity, the nomadic Scythians have inhabited the land, and the Persian Achaemenid Empire expanded toward the southern territory Turkic nomads and so on. But Scythians, the Scythians, that's hard to say, are well known in Russian culture and history. Poem of the nomadic Scythians. I am the poem of the ancient Scythians. Even though I walk about in exile, covered in blood, there hasn't been a moment when I have kept silent. Even when I rode Pegasus, my steed, my tribe behind me. And even the Mongolians conquered most of that land. I look around at the mortal world. My soul accepts it, yet grieves over it. When exalted from the mounted on a tall horse and singing, my tongue became tied, for most of my people were on their feet. How confused I was then, and I kept to myself a thought that came from Allah. In front of every ruler, I spoke fearlessly like a dragon. I jerked the world's hem as I pulled it. I moved along the horizon and entered the blackest cloud of the black sky that was pouring black rain. I ran from the steppe into the sky, and a white cloud kissed my wings. I inhaled the perfume of Hafez. I managed to push Pushkin into a husk of millet, and I was angry with Kafir. When I descended from the white cloud and sat down, crossing, then stretching my legs, he offered me vodka. Once I had drunk it, I vomited. Then I broke through the black clouds and went down to my father's house. The steppe was wild with light. I headed for Koktajir and flew up into the sky. But my alas was left behind. This is roughly contemporary, and yet there's so many notes of history. Isn't that funny about Pushkin? Pushkin, of course, is the national poet of Russia.
Right, but what's Pushka?
Pushka is a old canon that the Russians used against the Turks, and the Turks used against...
Okay, now that makes sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the play, Pushkin, Pushka...
Yeah.
So
you have to know it to get the joke, though.
You don't get... So this was written in Cyrillic, of course, you know, the Kazakh language, which is actually co-equal still with Russian in the country, co-official languages. This is so primitive to me, so Scythian, so wild men on horseback, no saddles, just bareback, you know, hanging on and shooting arrows, and all the wild history of the past comes alive. I am the poem of the ancient Scythians. Giving voice. Serik Aksundkar. So, who is Hafez? Well, he was the century after Rumi. Persian poets. Mm-hmm. And what's a kafir? I was angry with kafir. All I know is the scarf that the Palestinians wear and gave to me.
It's not a ruler of some kind, a leader?
I think so.
A kind of leader, I think. The kafir of...
A kafir. Yeah, like a caliph.
Yeah,
like
and I don't know all the particulars, but I think that's what it refers to.
Wow. Where has the hour gone? I've got to read the gold poem.
Okay.
Oh, where is it? I think I tore it off. Did I send it to you?
The gold poem,
A part of the Kazakh
I think
collection?
So. The Spell Song of Gold?
Yeah. Thank
There
you
it
so
is.
much. Yeah, I tore it off and sent it to someone. Spell Song of Gold. This is in the voice of gold. Can you imagine the imaginative creativity? As if, who's that wonderful poet who wrote in the voice of frogs? You know, Frog Autumn.
got me there.
Frog Autumn. Oh, I wish I had brought that one. The
Yeah, I'm going
frog-
to have to look it up.
The frogs are speaking. Spell Song of Gold. Quote, so there's an epigraph from Pushkin. I'll buy everything, said Gold. I'll take everything, said Steel. Pushkin. What does that mean? And was there steel in the time of Pushkin? Industrial Revolution and all that?
Oh, yeah, they would have had steel then.
1799 to 1836?
Yeah,
Pushkin.
I would think so.
So Gold is speaking. Stepping over the shame, I seduced, mind, honor, a grief, a man, then bought him. Who is man? Who am I? As a man, you need to understand what power is, for I will sell you again if I get pushed. You haven't seen me in a rage yet. I'm not afraid of a pushka, nor even of Pushkin. Don't be angry, biting your lip. I ruined your country, ruined your land. I'm not afraid of the snake's burrow, of hydrogen, atoms, of neutron bombs, which will have my name on them, if they are used playfully. I invented them all. The kings are my darlings, my most loved children, even if they are mischievous. If you harm executioners, you'll need my rage. They're my bastards from my maidens. The soldiers are my slaves in the saddle. I am the god of war on earth. They will die for me. As a poet, you will get a mourning song, but bodies of soldiers cover my face, and there's no proper price for dead slaves. All my wives are beauties, so the rumor goes. When I am shaped into a ring, I lead them to bed. You can see from my face I am not afraid of anything, not even of a hero. On earth I speak boldly. I say exactly what I want to say. Black earth and oh my castle. When I have time, I will have fun. Is Gioconda the epitome of beauty to you? I'll give you her price when I have calculated it. After all, I am gold. I was entranced.
Welcome to the news today. Follow the money and
Follow the money. Where is the gold buried? Why are we so insane over gold? Why are soldiers falling down dead, covering my face? Gold has done a lot here.
And every tyrant and every betrayal and every
king's crown and
is,
every, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's that gold. It's that I want to have this status symbol, this power for myself, and the heck with everybody else.
Not even
soldiers are their pawns, and women are their pawns.
Yes.
And,
I'll tell you her price, Gioconda's price.
Whatever.
Oh my God. Oh. I just loved it.
That was brilliant. It's so timely, don't you think?
Bingo. And live it to a poet to imagine creativity. Oh, isn't creative imagination so wonderful in a poet's hand? I'm not afraid of a pushka. Bam, one of those ancient can. Or I'm not even afraid of the national poet of Russia. Yeah. What is he to me?
Because he's gold. Do I have time for just
yes.
So this is a poem, again, about autumn. It doesn't have gold in it, except maybe an imagery. It's called, this is a poem I wrote called Toward Frost.
I love this one.
Let me not begrudge the cold blade the wind scrapes over corn stalks, nor the hills surrendered crimson to rust and shrouding mist. Mute skin cases hold fast, abandoned by timbling cicadas, whose whetstone rasp is now replaced by susurrus of anxious ground foragers. At the used book sale last week, I bought a paperback on a whim and tucked it in the bedside stack. Tonight, I reached for it to find your name scrawled inside. Why do you still send me gifts? I hear again the exhaled breath of your final words gyre down like leaves released. It's a race to the finish, a race to the finish.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And when you were talking about the leaves before in your poem, it's just such a symbol of fall, the leaves falling. It's the descent, and the finality of that. But somehow things come back. They come back to you as memories or one way or another.
Golden memories, which we rely on increasingly. That poem is so, I don't know, inspired on many levels, inspired in song and musicality, because the first two stanzas are really, they're singing with the sounds. And then there's that transition. Oh my goodness, the synchronicity of life where the book would be in the bookstore and his name would be in the book. I just love the actual fact of that.
Right.
As well as what you did with it.
Well, you celebrate the synchronicities, right?
You do, because the muse was there, and you're linked with him as poems.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. So sound plays such a deep role for me. So I'm more of an ear poet.
Yeah, I could hear that.
Great, I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Do you have another one of yours?
No, I don't. Not today. That was it. I have a Lucy Maud Montgomery, if you'd like, or do you have something else?
Did you send that to me?
I did.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
Lucy Maud Montgomery wrote Anne of Green Gables. So this is called By an Autumn Fire.
Oh, I love this one.
Now at the casement the wind is shrilling, poignant and keen, and all the great boughs of the pines between. It is harping a lone and hungering strain to the eldritch weeping of the rain. And then to the wild, wet valley flying, it is seeking, sighing, something lost in the summer olden. When night was silver and day was golden, but out on the shore the waves are moaning with ancient and never fulfilled desire. And the spirits of all the empty places, of all the dark and haunted spaces, with the rain and the wind of their death-white faces, come to the lure of our leaping fire. But we bar them out with this rose-red splendor from our blithe domain, and drown the whimper of the wind and rain with undaunted laughter, echoing long, cheery old tale and gay old song. Ours is the joyance of ripe fruition, attained ambition. Ours is the treasure of tested loving, friendship that needs no further proving. No more springtime hopes, sweet and uncertain. Here we have largesse of summer in fee. Pile high the logs till the flame be leaping, at bay the chill of the autumn keeping, while pilgrim-wise we may go a-reaping in the fairest meadow of memory.
The fairest meadow of memory. Oh, that's the image that I want to take from today. But also, and by the way, that was my favorite of all you said.
Oh, good. I'm glad we
the imagery,
got it in.
And it got the whole meaning of today encapsulated.
Good.
Yeah, those pilgrims, they can reap because they sowed.
You bet.
Don't you love it?
Yeah.
But the two most significant lines are tested friendship and proven love. That's the whole point of that, isn't it?
It is.
And the whole point of...
That's the fire. That's the autumn fire. That's what keeps you going.
Yes! Oh, that's such a beautiful image to end on. That friendship is tested and proven as well as love. Thank you, Gemma.
Thank you, Frank.
I just love fall in your hands.
Me too.
It's a wrap. Thank you so much for our half Halloween, half autumn and full of love show. Oh, I really enjoyed it today. As we do all the time. Yeah. So stay tuned for November, and we'll have a Christmas show with kids and music. Can we get the grandkids down?
I don't know. We'll see.
Thank you so much.